Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome back to another edition of our Sunday podcast. If you only knew what goes on behind the scenes here in the last minutes of this show, I think you would find a good source of humor. So I see we only have one camera set up, and we're going to work with that today. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Thank you so much for joining us on this podcast. I had a very interesting few days in Alabama with a great group of people, and I'll tell you about them in a little while. Fred, why don't you welcome our fans?
Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to joining us. I'd like to just say thank you to my little nephew Louis and Marianne for a wonderful early Thanksgiving dinner yesterday. It was really wonderful. And then we have the topic of discussing why you can't get off the ground when you want to. If you can picture the skies as a jigsaw puzzle of pieces, and those pieces are pieces of airspace that connect, and an aircraft goes from one piece of airspace to the next. The pilot changes his frequency to talk to the controller that's in charge of that piece of airspace. If you don't have the sufficient amount of controllers to work each piece of airspace, you keep those pieces of airspace together, and you restrict the amount of airplanes that go into it. So that's what holds you on the ground. Again, there's lots of traffic in the sky. You have to keep a minimum of 5 miles between aircraft, or 1,000 feet if you're going to pass each other. You also have to remember two aircraft converging at one another, converging to 15 to 20 miles a minute. So that controller's mind has to be working ahead, and his team has to be working with him. If he doesn't have all the people for that team, then you're working more traffic with less people, and you have to push that traffic back so you can still handle the demands of the system. Bob, I'm sure you've been in that position yourself.
Yeah, operating as a controller, operating as a traffic management unit supervisor, operating as a traffic management unit person, managing the flow of traffic into a sector that's starting to get saturated does have its limitations. Like looking in advance, you can never really totally predict the weather. Okay, where we were in Houston Center, in fact, all the facilities have a weather prognosticator on board. And during the beginning of a shift, you get a good briefing, and then you go up to your designated position, and you get the briefing from them. But weather is not 100% predictable, right? You could have a front coming through, and the front could actually do something different than what's forecasted. 99% of the time, your weather people get it right, especially the closer you get to the weather action happening, the more accurate they become. And in that realm, that's when you have started to lay plans out way in advance for this operation to occur. We're dancing again today because I'm waving my hands around. I'm sorry about that, people. These AI cameras just pick up on anything that I do. I just have such a commanding presence to them. But anyway, way before a weather event occurs, you would be briefed on it by the weather man or weather woman, and you would start prefacing your plans, getting your preparation of your plans, and you walk around, you tell all the supervisors in those areas what's going to happen, what you're going to do if X, Y, and Z should happen. Again, I'm moving my hands. Hard to talk without my hands here. I'm almost limited.
The Italian part of
It's the Italian part of me. Thank you, Fred. So you have your plans all set. Everybody's ready to do and execute what you plan on doing, but the weather doesn't turn out to be the way it was forecast. And actually, the fix that you have all the aircraft getting ready to go to is the one that turns out to be impacted by the weather. And you have to be able to get out there quickly, change plans, get aircraft rerouted so that sector doesn't get flooded with traffic. The indicators, not only just the flight progress strips going into the sector, they have a device, the aircraft situation displays that would start to hit their numbers. There are a set limit on numbers, and they would start to turn different colors. Red is definitely a significant color in that area, and an action should be taken way in advance before that came up as red. Fred, you're signaling me you want to say something.
Yes, I remember weather situations, and the meteorological team, they can get it so detailed where as the weather moves in over a major airport, they can let us know if we can land from the west as the weather's on the east side. Then as the weather comes over the airport, we have to hold out. As the weather moves to the west side, we turn around and come in on the other side of the airspace. I had a situation one time where I had a string of airplanes coming in from the west, and the sector ahead of me was busy with weather and traffic coming from the north. I called them and asked if I needed to space these airplanes out more. My fellow macho controllers telling me Boeing didn't build enough airplanes to bother him. And let's say 3 to 5 minutes later, he calls and tells me he can't take the traffic I've got coming to him. Nice surprise for me. So I start to go into a hold and waiting for the aircraft that he has in his airspace to move on so I can bring my aircraft in. I did have 2 overflights that were going to Florida and one to New Orleans. And in the meantime, they're making circles out to the west around Austin. One of the pilots says to me, "What do I have to do to get on course?" And I said, "Okay, I'm going to take you south." And I proceeded to turn the aircraft south to get away from that piece of airspace. Once he was clear of it, I turned him back to the east to go on to New Orleans and to Florida. So I just basically went around that traffic so that controller didn't have to work him and another controller would. You have to think outside the box, and when things aren't working well, you got to make a new box to think out of. Anybody have any questions on that? Rob, do you have?
You did such a good job explaining that. They don't have any questions. Isn't that amazing? I hope that we have some people out. Anybody out there? Our chat room is open. You're able to text us your questions or anything else you'd like for us to talk about. We'd certainly like to bring it up. And that's aviation wise, or you want to know anything about Fred and I, we would tell all if you want to know. I have brought up the Flight Aware on my computer, and we're going to bring it up on screen here. And these are the things that I wanted to highlight as Fred was talking, and what I was talking about earlier, the sectors and there's the saturation. So around here, in this area, this is the Houston Intercontinental area, okay? Outside of 40 miles, that's where Houston Center resides. So here is just about all the corner posts coming into Houston Intercontinental, Houston Hobby Airport. Any airport that is aligned in the Houston TRACON area is going to come in over a corner post, an arrival corner post that's pre-designated through our letters of agreement and memorandum of understanding between the RAPCON or the Radar Approach Control, Terminal Radar Approach Control, TRACON, or Houston Center. We, the center, which is the big guys out here in this area, bring our aircraft in, as you can see this line coming down, over a corner post on the northeast side. They come in over DeZetta, and then on the southeast side they come in over Shoals area, Scholes, however you call it. Then down here on the southwest side they arrive over Eagle Lake, And on the northwest side, they arrive over Cougar.
Cougar.
Okay, so you're taking aircraft that are in this area, bringing them down over the Cougar. You take aircraft on this airspace up here, you bring them down over DayZ, and likewise. Our departures are set up so that they come out either north, east, southbound, or west. So you see there's never really any head-on configuration for arrivals and departures. The place where it becomes complex is in higher altitude, and that's where the center air traffic controllers make sure the separation is provided between climbing aircraft and descending aircraft. Now all this, you can imagine, gets scrambled when weather plays a part in this facility, and any facility. So we might be experiencing delays here in Houston, but the weather could be clear as a bell. Meanwhile, on the East Coast, they could be inundated with a line of thunderstorms that are stopping departures, or just having traffic rerouted down through one sector that's getting saturated with traffic, so they have to slow the traffic down going into there. That's when the delays start to kick in. When I was working up in Chicago Center, we had the northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest departure and arrival corridors. And the saying was, if we went into holding at Chicago Center, it's like somebody catching cold, sneezing, then the rest of the world catches cold, because at that one time we were the busiest facility in the country, and working the Heights plant sector was probably the busiest corner post in the United States. And then we had the South Outs area. Here at Houston Center, they push a lot of airplanes now also. So you can imagine that when there's weather affecting this sector right here, all of these aircraft have to be dispersed either down to the southwest side or to the northwest side. And you have to take into consideration headwinds, the jet stream. When you're turning these people, you don't want to turn them directly into headstream. They might already be, fuel limited. And commercial aircraft have to land with at least 1 hour of fuel on board the aircraft to remain within the federal air regulations for safety. You all probably didn't know that, but it's good to know that you at least have an hour's reserve once they hit their mark. For when they would consider themselves empty, you still have an hour to go. The area that is working the arrival fixes or the departure fixes, they know that the traffic is going to be coming in that area, so they've staffed up. Now, if they don't have staffing, which is happening right now, right, Fred?
Yeah.
They have a hard time moving traffic during weather situations. They have to move less. So moving less into that airspace because of staffing problems means that there are going to be delays on the ground. And how is that going to impact you as a traveler? It will. You could experience, if there's a 15-minute delay coming in over that arrival fix, that goes out over all the aircraft that'll go over that arrival fix. So 15 minutes could be an hour to an hour and 45 minutes, depending on what your departure time was in that line of traffic that was going to go in over the original, let's say, DayZ fix, and now you're being taken down over the skulls. So you can see it is better to take the delay on the ground than to be up in the air turning and burning holes in the sky, right? Stacked high and waiting. I would rather just be able to stretch out or go to a snack bar, or maybe go to get an embellishment to take the edge off,
Yeah.
So
anytime you're stuck on the ground for a few minutes, don't get upset, because you can be sure that what's going on in the sky, you'd rather wait. It gets really hectic up there.
Yeah. And speaking about being stuck on the ground, I hope that you're not the individual that goes up there to the gate agents and gives them a hard time, because that person has nothing to do with the delay other than being the voice of the airline. They are under a lot of stress. Talk about a position you have no control over. That person behind that podium, man, they're going to take a lot of heat. They certainly know what they're doing. And when you break down and start calling them names and getting ugly with them, that doesn't help the situation at all. So treat them with a little bit of kindness, with a little bit of respect. You know, they're probably not getting paid what they should be in those situations, but a little bit of kindness will go a long way when you're dealing with those people under high stress. You know, and thank them for what they're doing. Remember, these people are working. You know? They could be somewhere else, but they need the money just like you need the money when you work. So be kind,
Yeah.
above all things.
I know I had a significant line of weather between us and Dallas. So the Dallas traffic coming out had to be routed further west. And I had a dispatcher from Southwest in Dallas call me, telling me there's no weather out there. And he wanted us to turn the airplanes over towards Dallas. I'm looking at the radar scope with just lines of weather. And he's telling me that it's not there. So I called the traffic management in Dallas and put us both on the lines. I said, I've got a Southwest dispatcher here, and he's telling me there's no weather up to the north. Those airplanes can turn to the north to get into the airport. What do you see? He says, I see a solid line and we can't get in there. So I got the dispatcher on there. I said, Southwest, you copy what Fort Worth said? He says, well, I don't see any weather. I said, I don't care what you see or what you don't see. You tell me where those airplanes are going to land if they don't have enough fuel to go around this weather, because we can't take them going up through the weather and into the airport. What you see and what we see is two different things. While all this is going on, you know, you have to work with everybody around you to get an agreement of where you're going to take these airplanes. You have to remember, Houston Center's airspace runs as far east as Gulfport, Mississippi. As far to the west is El Paso, down to the Mexican border around Harlingen, and up to about 50 miles south of Dallas. And again, those jigsaw puzzle of pieces, you have approximately 8 or 9 pieces in each one of the specialties, and there's 9 specialties in the Houston area. So the aircraft can move through and be handled correctly. Rob, is there anything you want to talk about with that, or where else were you this week?
Does anybody have any questions on the items we just covered? Let's see our question and answer board.
Is anybody on here?
Yeah, we have somebody that said hello, and we didn't get a chance to say hello back. So, we having technical difficulties there?
The remote lost power for a second.
Oh, well. Well, while we're trying to fix that up, there are some things that I wanted to talk about that I did over the weekend. Not the weekend, or during the week. I was with an amazing group of people, and I just lost my file. I was with an amazing group of people this week on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the Mariner and Marlin Association. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they operated this aircraft that you see on your screen right now. And the group that I was with was operating it from 1945 to 1963, and then it was replaced by the P-3 Orion. They had an annual reunion, and this was their 42nd annual reunion. And what a bunch of cut-ups they were. You know, I'm in the Air Force, and they were in their Navy, so we had a lot of back and forth commentary. But what a great group of people. And I'm going to show you some of the pictures that I picked up that will eventually make it into a mini documentary, or maybe a mini series that I'll put together for our channel. So, and I know that there are a lot of people out there that decided to sign up, and I don't know if I remembered to tell you about the podcast, but if you're out there, could you send us a message? And Malcolm, could you show us our message board? Let's see, there's Sakia Sultra. I see you there with your little lovely child. Hi. Thanks for saying hello to us, and I hope there are other people out there. Any of you from the Mariner and Marlin Association out there, send me a text. I'd love to hear back from you. You guys were a great group of people, and I really enjoyed being with you. Now, these are some of the pictures that I had taken at the get-together. Amazing aircraft, not very, not a very good aircraft to fly in. Okay, the aircraft had a lot of difficulties. In fact, they had an individual on board that would repair the aircraft as it was flying along. Is that the kind of airplane you'd like to fly on? Even raising my hand and swearing allegiance and my oath to the United States Air Force, I don't know if I'd want to get on an airplane that you have to continually repair. But fortunately, at least they had someone on board that could repair it. It's like changing the tire on a car that's driving down the highway, huh? I'm going to take these photos that I have here, and I'm going to fix them up, clean them up a little bit, restore them to their original condition, I hope. And here are the boys raising the flag on Iwo Jima. Just like I said, a great group of people, and I plan on putting some stuff up there that will recognize their gift. Now, this hat that I'm wearing right here, seaplane hat, that's a hat that I bought for one of our members or our subscribers, Jerry Strickland. So your hat is getting very well broken in right now, and here it is being shown on the show. Maybe it'll be worth something in 100 years. I don't know. but I know it's worth something for you for the $40 that you pay. Oh, no, that's right. I got it for you for $20. Yeah, that's right. So you lucked out there. Anything else? Anybody want to talk about anything like the delays that are happening right now? I know that they're showing lines like 2 hours to 3 hours long at TSA. Now, our TriCaster's dad works at the TSA, so imagine that, and he's probably not getting paid right now. So those people that on the Hill in Washington, the ones that we elected, that you are supposed to be working for us, would you please go back and get that bill passed, the continuing resolution bill? And one more thing about this whole nonsense, and then I'm going to leave it there. I do post stuff on Facebook, and I don't mind good discussion. But when you have to resort to name calling and being childish, saying things about education and lack of, you need to stop that, because that's not going to get you any response from me. I'm not going to dignify that with a response. If you want to give me an educated, factual piece of information, I would entertain that, and then I would respond to you appropriately. But if you got to lower yourself to four-letter words and being childlike, don't expect a response. I'm not going to unfriend you, but I'm definitely not going to respond to that. Just remember, we see things differently. And if you want to discuss that, my door is always open. I'd love for you to sit down and we could talk. That's how it's done. Not being a keyboard warrior and thinking that you're above it all, because you're not. Everybody is equal out there, despite what you believe. Okay? So having said that, Fred, what do you got?
Coming from the East Coast, if somebody wants to badmouth me,
Fred, no, we're on a channel and we've got 230,000 subscribers.
I wasn't
very happy to.
I'm just willing to
entertain.
defend us.
We don't have to dignify that stuff, Fred.
But, yeah, there are people out there that I'd like to see what they could do with a headset on. Maybe I could have them for a trainee sometime.
Yeah, maybe some of them never really made it. But that's besides the point. We don't want to go down that road.
Okay.
So, there was something else you were talking about today.
We were talking about the staffing.
Yeah.
We were talking about your visit for the Merlins.
Mhm.
The
Merlin and Merida. Yeah.
Yeah, the supersonic flight
Oh,
is increasing more and more. And they've established that they can fly supersonic. Can we put this on the camera?
Oh.
They can fly supersonic without the boom. And they're researching that more and more. So the speeds we know today are going to be slow compared to what is going to be in the future being probably 5 years from now. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It wasn't that long ago that we were able to break the sound barrier. Chuck Yeager was the test pilot that did that. But now they're talking about breaking the sound barrier and not affecting people on the ground, which will allow them to go even faster. Imagine going from New York on the East Coast to California and LA in 3 hours, or between 3 and 4. I know if anybody remembers Tom Cruise in the movie Top Gun Maverick, he flew an airplane at hypersonic speed,
Nice.
10 times the speed of sound. Imagine going from the East Coast to the West Coast in less than an hour. It's an incredible feat and an incredible speed. It's an incredible challenge to try and control that with other airplanes in the sky. But that's what the future of our children is going to be, with amazing improvements in systems. Mr. Elon Musk just became a trillionaire. He was the board of his company elected to give him $1 trillion salary, and the products that SpaceX is producing.
And Elon, you'll be happy to know that Fred approves of that $1 trillion salary.
Yes,
So he was
worth every penny of it, yes. A little sideline I just thought of, with the demands in the air traffic system, his rockets and other rockets are restricted now to where they can't launch during the day. They are restricted to launching, I believe, 10 o'clock at night till 6 o'clock in the morning, to take demands off the system and off the controllers. Because again, they're going through airspace that airplanes are flying in. So that's something else people don't think about. But,
Yeah,
yes.
that's right, Fred. That's good. But you know what time it is, Fred? It's time to do a little advertising.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I've got my cup here.
We here at Behind the Scope really appreciate you all following, liking, subscribing us, but we still are not monetized, believe it or not. So all of you that think that we're making tons and tons of money off of this channel, we are not. We are not monetized. We need you to watch the videos through to the end, and we need you to thumbs up our videos, because that's the way that they really get to count that we're being watched. And please, just keep letting it scroll through and keep letting it play. That'll definitely help us. Having said that, while we're not monetized, we have this wonderful merchandise, like this beautiful coffee cup right here that we make. And we can put anything you would like on the back. Here I have the logo for the Strategic Air Command. That's what I was in when I was in the Air Force at Loring Air Force Base.
Don't forget that was designed by Peggy.
Right, and that was the logo was designed by Fred's wife, Peggy. And here, this is Behind the Scope LLC, and this cover was designed by our TriCaster operator, Malcolm Chan. So if you need a graphic artist, he's a good guy for you too. And on the back of our thing is the little QR code. But in this book is everything you always wanted to know about air traffic control, but were afraid to ask. Not to be confused with the Woody Allen movie. And then over here, we can make you these beautiful coasters with our QR code. And on the bottom, I don't know, I have it in yellow here. Next time I'm going to make it in black ink, I think. You could have the logo of any facility that you worked at. And like I was saying on the coffee cups, you could have where you worked put on on the back of these cups. You see where that QR code is? We can make that QR code smaller, which we will, and then you could have the dates that you worked, what facilities you worked at, or anything else that you'd like to have put on these cups. And this has got a nice little sippy cup lid because, you know, Fred is very messy and he would get coffee all over my place unless he had this lid. So appreciate you using that sippy cup lid, Fred.
Sometimes it comes with a straw.
Sometimes. We also have luggage tags that you can get. I can make you these beautiful luggage tags. Let's get the glare off. And on the bottom, you could have your name, address. I wouldn't put your address on there, but your name, so that way there, when you fly on the airlines, you'll be able to do that with such a beautiful luggage tag, and you'd be advertising for us here at Behind the Scope. So thank you so much for participating in that. And we're going to get those up, probably the links for those today on our website, behindthescope.llc.com, which is different than the YouTube site, and we'll put a link on the posting page so you could get to that site from there. All right, so that's all I have, Fred.
It's a wrap for this week.
Okay. Once again, I want to thank the Berlin and Mariner Association for having me out there. I had such a great time, and I can't wait to start sharing some of your stories and putting together a nice little documentary giving you guys that historic in perpetuity about your adventures flying your aircraft. Because, oh, there is one thing that I did want to bring up. There were two men that were on VP 50. It's either VP 50 or VP 49. Their records were destroyed or not sent with them, and they did not get their air award. And I'm going to get a little deeper on that once I review the conversation we had. And it's being held up. So if anybody knows a way that could expedite their medal to them, because you know they're in their upper area of the age in the 80s, it would be nice for them to at least have that awarded to them, that well-deserved award given to them.
In person and not posthumously.
That is correct. Thank you for helping me out there, Fred. So if you know a way that we can get that expedited, please send me a message, put it on the post. Love to have it. Like to get that information to them. That's Jim Taylor and the pilot on that aircraft. Yeah, he's a great guy too. I can't remember his name. He told me he can't remember names, and my brain is like Teflon when it comes to names too. They just slide right off. So, but anyway, thank you again. Thanks for subscribing. Like, subscribe, and share our channel. We'd like to hear more from you. Please go to the posts area or the community area. Send us messages about what you'd like to see. And last but not least, remember, learn how to love one another out there. We got enough hate. Learn how to love, okay? From Fred and I.
Yeah, I'm the loving one.
Yes.
Have a good week.
Yes. All right, guys.